Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming Podcast. Today is the 21st August of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be one of your two hosts for this evening, the second being Tygergamer. Hey Tiger, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How
Alright.
about you?
Tired today. I just came back from my parents. Their summer season just ended. It was an insane amount of work. Like, we literally steamed the carpets in about 40 rooms just today.
Dang.
And first we had to take all the beds, all the closets out of those rooms. So, man, that was a fun workout.
I bet.
Yeah, it's your parents. You help your parents when they need help.
That's right.
What kind of a child would you be if you didn't?
A terrible child.
I don't want to be a terrible child. I actually want to be a good son, I would say.
Yeah.
But we are not here to talk about cleaning carpets. We are here to talk about video games. So,
Yes.
Let's get straight into it, I guess. So, well, let me go first this week. I didn't get to play much this week. I mostly actually been playing Hearthstone, to be honest. And that's a big surprise. I used to love Hearthstone when it was like in beta, and when it came out, it was the only game I was playing essentially. But the new expansion came out a few weeks ago, and I gotta say, I've been freaking enjoying it. I actually joined back Constructed. And surprisingly enough, usually when you come back to a game after such a long time, it's not really that fun because, the game has evolved and you don't know what's happening. But I like the new meta of this expansion. This expansion is, by the way, called the Boomsday Project. And it's all, well, no, not all, but primarily about a tribe of cards called mechs. So everybody's playing mechs, and a lot of people are playing aggro decks. You know what's an aggro deck in a card game?
I'm pretty sure that's like your attack deck, your attack cards.
Yeah, you're just trying to kill the enemy very quickly.
Yeah.
And I decided to play a deck that specifically counters those decks. I very much suck at playing against anything that resembles a control deck. There I win by just sheer luck when they draw awfully and I draw like a god. But whenever I'm playing against an aggro deck, it's just straight sailing forward, and I've been very much happy with that. It's just,
Awesome.
I hate when people play aggro decks because they are the most dumb decks there are. It's just like, okay, you play a minion, you play another minion, and you attack face. Okay, he played a minion. What should I do? Oh, I know, I will attack face. What should I do next? Maybe attack face? This is a hard decision. And my deck actually forces them to think, because my deck is based. It's a type of deck that's usually called zoo, where you can play aggro if you get a good draw, but most of the time your goal is just to have control over the game, not in a way that you use big spells to remove all their minions, etc. You just have a ton of minions that trade very efficiently. And I've decided to use a shaman for that because he has a few very awesome cards. The card I love the most, and it's there from the very beginning, it's called Flame Tongue Totem. And it gives the adjacent minions +2 attack. And Shaman's ability, his class ability, is to summon a random totem. So you have this army of totems that you didn't have to spend any cards to create. You just used your hero ability. And then you slam this Flame Tongue totem on the board. And suddenly they can attack. And just straight into small minions. Completely for free. And that's been very much fun. I had a few like super awesome wins against control decks. Because I have a card there. It's called Arcane Dynamo. And what it does, it gives you an option to choose 1 out of 3 spells that cost 7 or more mana. And 7 mana is quite expensive. And one of these spells just turns your minions into random legendary minions. And you know, I as I said, I have this board of minions I created for free. For very cheap. Suddenly they're like giant dragons and monstrosities. So I've been having a lot of fun with that. I actually might try to go for Legend next month. I'm still not sure whether I should. It takes a lot of time. It's not like hard to get to Legend. You essentially need a 51% win rate. So that's not that hard. But it takes a lot of time if your win rate is only 51%. What do you think? Should I go for Legend?
Hey, if you really like the game, go for
it. The thing is, you know, whenever you play like for the goal, suddenly the game changes from just fun into something you're trying to achieve. And I don't know, I'm afraid it might like screw my perspective on the game. Instead of just being like me having fun, it's going to become a job. And I don't want that to happen.
Sure.
So what about you? What have you been playing this week?
Me, I played The Walking Dead, the final season, episode 1.
Oh, the new Walking Dead. So
yeah.
I hate those. How is it?
Actually, one thing I've noticed is it's not as QTE heavy as the previous games were. I mean, sure, you still got the button problems to like kill a zombie or whatever, but other than that, like when he comes like killing walkers or whatever, you actually get put into an area, and you, depending on how close to a zombie you are, depending on what you can do. So like Clementine, like her thing is like kicking that zombie in the leg to knock him down and stabbing him in the head. You got to push the buttons in the right order to do that. But you can also move around in the play area while you're doing so.
Okay.
So there's a little more gameplay. And also, now the camera is actually over the shoulder instead of just showing like the entire area that you can walk in. Now it's over the shoulder of the character that you play as, so which I think is pretty awesome. So far, a lot less QTE focused, but we'll have to wait and see for the next few episodes to see how the game progresses.
So what you are saying is you think Telltale is actually learning?
Yes.
You know what? When this genre came out, it was amazing. It was a completely new way to present adventure games. But they just stuck to their formulas for so fucking long. Like, why?
Yeah.
I know the stories are awesome, and it's a great game to be watched to played. You know, if you just want to see the story, yeah, I would just watch it. Obviously, then you don't get to make the decisions.
Yeah.
But I know if they improved the gameplay, where it's not just you walk, you mash a button, you walk, you mash a button, then actually I think Telltale might be improving their game significantly. And,
yeah.
and the camera angle, that actually sounds to me like they're trying to go for a more almost third-person shooter kind of style with The Walking Dead the final season.
Well, I have yet to shoot a gun, so.
You know what I mean, like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's call it third-person adventure game with stealth elements.
Yeah.
Which is like almost every game on PlayStation. It feels to me some days, at least when it comes to AAA games. Well, so would you recommend it at the moment?
Oh well, if you just want to try here's the thing. I'll recommend it if you play the previous seasons, because of course this continues Clementine's story. So only play if you know what's going on, and also if you actually really want to play it yourself instead of watching someone else play it, go for it. But yeah, if you want to, you can just go watch someone else play it, like I did. like me, I streamed. I did a live stream of it. So.
Do you think, if you haven't played the previous ones, do you think it would be enough to just watch the gameplay of the previous ones? Or is it better to play? Or more like, important?
Okay, now, yeah, if you put... I would recommend you playing the previous ones, so that way you have more of an attachment to the characters. Like, the choices that you've made, although to this point, have mattered. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And also, one of the things I like about this game is they're leaning more towards the comic book art style.
Yeah, I can see that from the pictures. It looks much more cel shaded.
Yeah, and also one of the cool touches I noticed is whenever you die, like the death screen looks like a cover from the actual Walking Dead comic book.
Oh,
I thought that was pretty cool.
That actually does sound cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Walking Dead is available on pretty much any platform. Is it on Switch?
I don't think so, no.
So, apart from the Switch, for €23.99 or your regional equivalent. Interesting enough, there's also a demo version available. At least on the PC. Okay.
And there might be one on consoles too, so.
Cool. So, the second game I've played this week is actually a digital version of a game I own in real life. It's called Talisman, the digital edition. And as you might know, it's a board game. It's essentially your classical RPG game. You play as a character. There are so many characters in this game. It's like insane. In the standard game, I think there's like 14 characters. And then you have expansions. Many expansions. So let me actually check how many expansions there are. There's like 18 character packs alone.
Dang.
And then there's like expansion packs, you know, that add literal gameplay content to the game. I gotta say, I've been pleasantly surprised with this thing. Talisman is a game I've loved since I was, I don't know, 12. I actually went to a board game focused summer camp when I was 12. And this was the game we played there the most because it's just awesome. You pick a character, it has like a special ability. Like, to give you an example, if you play like the ninja character, he has the ability just to, you know, add 3 to his attack if he attacks you, or if he doesn't want to, he can just evade any combat. If you like, you know, you're still low level, the game just started, suddenly you encounter like a demon strength 12. You have like 3 strength, or like, you know what? I don't really want to fight that right now. So you just evade it. And the goal of the game is to get to the center, to get to the crown. And if you get there, you get to cast a super special spell that just starts killing everyone every single turn. So yeah, it's always fun to kill your friends in games, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And what surprised me probably the most is how well they actually managed to do this. So it actually feels like a representation of the game itself. I'm going to show some screenshots. Sadly, there is no video here. Though the video would probably feel a bit slow because there's a lot of decision making here involved. But yeah, the game is super great. If you like board games and you're just looking for something to play with your friends across the world, Talisman is one I would highly recommend. And if you just want the basic edition, it's super cheap. It costs just $7. There actually was a sale like 2 weeks ago where it cost $3, so that's where I bought it for my girlfriend. They do have a really cool offering here, though. They have a 6-pack edition where you buy 6 copies of the game and you can just send it to your friends. And I think that's a thing that more board games need to do. One thing to be mentioned, though. If you want the game with everything, like with all the expansion packs, that will cost you about $115.
Dang.
So if you just want everything, it's not the cheapest. Like, literally. But on the other hand, I bought the physical edition for about $60, just the standard game without any of the expansion. And each expansion is about $10 extra. So compared to the physical edition, it's insanely cheap still. If you wanted just everything for the physical edition, so it would probably go close to like at least $400, to be honest. But yeah, it's still a great game. I'm gonna be reviewing it probably on Friday, but mostly not like mechanically. This is more like a review of how well they redone it to digital.
Okay.
Okay, and that's all I played this week. Did you get to play anything else?
No, I sure didn't.
Okay, then let's go to the second section of the show. Let's talk about the news. And you know what? I would like to start with Steam.tv. Have you heard of this thing?
I've heard about it.
So apparently Valve has decided to make a competitor to Twitch. There are a few interesting things about this. First of all, it essentially got leaked by Valve themselves. So it seems the website went online for like a few hours, then it disappeared, and yeah, then it launched normally. It has been launched about today, pretty much, or yesterday, depending on your time zone. And at the moment, there is nothing else than Dota 2 there, to be honest. There's a live broadcast of the 2018 Dota 2 International, the championship, so that's there right now. It does have actually good features. You can scrub through the stream. There are team fights highlighted on the stream, so if you just want to see cool team fights, you can go do that. Obviously, this is not all Steam wants to do with this platform. They are planning to take this into a literal competitor for Twitch. But with one interesting thing, and that is the fact that it will be API connected to Steam itself. And yeah, Steam does have a bunch of games, so I don't see a real problem there. Lack of games. And they do have a ton of users. So the real question here is, can Valve actually compete with Twitch? What do you think?
I think that they have a strong foundation to do so, but only time will tell if they will be able to compete with Twitch or not.
I think they can't, honestly. I think they're too late to the market. It's the same thing with any competitor to YouTube. You know, there are a ton of competitors to YouTube, and some of them are working fine and they're making money. No problem. But none of them can come close to YouTube. Like not even like close. You know, there's With Me, and if we stick to the Steam blockchain, you know, there's DTube and DLive. But YouTube is just like a bajillion times bigger. And I think it will be the same thing for Steam.tv. I just think they're too late. What might be a solution for them to boost their numbers is to essentially force people to stream Valve games on Steam. I don't think they can do it for like third-party games, but I think they will be able to do it with Dota 2, with Team Fortress, CS:GO, Artifact that's upcoming. You know, just the Valve games. And that might bring a ton of people to Steam.tv that might eventually like browse the other streamers who aren't playing their games. But the fact that they're limited to Steam is also not a good thing for them, because a bunch of big-ass games are not on Steam. Probably the best examples are Blizzard games. And Fortnite. Actually, did you hear? There was like a tidbit of news. I didn't really include this. World of Warcraft actually surpassed Fortnite for like 2 days on Twitch.
Yeah, I heard.
They had a new expansion, so it was somewhat expected that their numbers would grow. I didn't expect them to surpass Fortnite. I think it's because people are, you know, Legion was a super well done expansion, and I don't play World of Warcraft anymore, but I still like listen to the lore of Legion because, you know, I read the books, I wanted to know what happens to Illidan, etc., etc. But now they're going back into this Horde versus Alliance stuff, and I don't really care about that much. Even though I literally have a Horde hoodie. That's what I wear when it's cold outside. I have a Horde hoodie.
Awesome.
And let me actually show you something. My girlfriend got me a present for... It's not my birthday, it's a name day. Let me quickly grab this. So she actually got me a book, World of Warcraft Chronicles, issue number 1. And I don't think I will be reading it because I know most of this stuff already. It's like the lore of the world. But it has such fucking amazing pictures, and it has maps. And I fucking love maps. So, yeah, for the viewers, you can see that this is like the Black Empire map. Here's like old Kalimdor. Oh, it seems we lost Tygergamer for a moment here. Oh, some technical issues. And he's coming back. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Someone was trying to call me. Freaking telemarketers.
Telemarketers on Skype? Seriously?
Nope.
Oh, on your phone.
I'm using my phone to Skype.
So yeah, there's a bunch of awesome pictures also here. So here's like an image of Loken's betrayal, and man, I wish I could draw like this. But the thing I love the most are the fucking maps. The maps are just amazing. So yeah, very nice present for my girlfriend. Apparently the book was not in store. She actually had to order it and wait for it like 2 weeks.
Oh wow.
So yeah. Yeah, this is how you know you have a good girlfriend. You know, she actually buys you presents towards your interest, even though she's not like the biggest gamer. She plays games, but you know she plays The Sims 2. We play Rocket League together, though. she plays bunch on her phone. She plays like Clash Royale. And she's actually pretty good at it. She's at like 4,500 trophies. And somebody seems to be calling Tiger again. It seems that telemarketers really want their revenue. Man, that telemarketer, he really needs his money. Your screen is landed.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Okay, let's move on to the second topic. Hopefully no other telemarketers will call you.
Yeah, really.
Let's talk about this week's big news. So, well, maybe some of you haven't heard, but China is having some big-ass problems with video gaming right now. This comes from a report from Bloomberg that had reported that it's been 4 months since the China regulator approved any new game to be sold on the Chinese market. And yeah, this is a big-ass problem. So some sources say they're all anonymous because they don't want to be named, said this is happening due to an ongoing restructuring of departments within the Chinese government, including the National Television and Radio Administration, which is the governing body responsible for granting licenses, and the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, which has been just, you know, somewhat stingy about video game regulation in the past couple of years. And because there is no clear leadership in those departments at the moment, and, you know, bureaucrats, they don't like to do stuff unless they're ordered to, unless they have to, no new products are being allowed on the market. And especially this is the case with games, because they have a big potential to allow people the freedom of speech and freedom of getting information, which are a thing here in Europe and America and pretty much, you know, the Western world, but they aren't as much of a thing in China. On top of that, there have actually been like pretty much concerned about loot boxes, actually, because they do actually are worried about their connection with gambling. But this has pretty much frozen the Chinese gaming market, which, if you don't realize, is the largest gaming market in the fucking world.
It's the largest market, and it's the largest market out of all.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, people forget, but China is fucking densely populated and big, and there's a fucking billion people there. It's like 3 United States in terms of population. Yep. It's 3 Europes.
Yep.
It's fucking insane. And obviously this has had some bad repercussions on the gaming market. So probably the one who has been impacted worst so far has been Tencent, the Chinese gaming giant, who apparently has lost about $150 billion in market value since the start of the year. In the past week, it lost about 10% of its market value. It's because they're still waiting for approval for PC versions of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Fortnite, Monster Hunter World, and many other games. But obviously it's impacted other studios as well. For example, Konami has lost about 4%. Capcom has lost about 3%. Yeah. everybody's in a shitty position.
Yep.
But I think there's a bigger issue here to be talked about. I think these giants, you know, companies like Tencent, Konami, I think they will manage to survive. What worries me the more are small scale studios, especially the Chinese ones, to be honest, which rely on the Chinese market and who rely on making games fairly regularly. They don't, you know, release one big game a year, but they release like 5-6 games every year. Those might be in a bit of trouble, I would say. So, what do you think of the situation?
I'm hoping that hopefully it'll get resolved. Hopefully they.
Well, it's been 4 months, and you lagged. Poor Tyler. Tiger's internet is not being really pleasant today, it seems. Sad. But sadly, we cannot do much about technical issues. In the meantime, my opinion of this is, yeah, the gaming, this needs to get resolved as soon as possible. Do you hear me, Tyler?
Yeah.
And you lagged again. God damn it. What is
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your video is lagged again. And the call now failed. Let me call him again. See what happens. Hopefully it will get fixed. God damn it. Yeah, this sucks. Sadly, okay, nothing happened here. Okay, he's calling me. Let's see if it works this time.
Okay, there we go.
What's with your internet, man?
No, my I checked it and it's running at 100 megs per second right now. So.
It's probably some Skype issue. Yeah, you know what I bet is the issue? It's the fact that we're still using the old version of Skype and they're just introducing artificial errors.
Possibly.
Suckers.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you try again on your opinion of the situation?
Oh yeah. Hopefully, this is a sucky situation for everyone that isn't it that's in the gaming business, in the game development business, and hopefully the Chinese government can get it resolved as soon as possible, because considering that they're one of the biggest market in the world right now. So
yeah, I actually raised this thing with our CEO of Tubera, and man, he was like, "Oh fuck, I didn't hear about this. This is a problem." I was like, I don't think you need to be that worried. You know, it's a long time before we actually go for release. Though, if it actually continues on for like a long time, it might actually pose a trouble. And it has been going on for 4 months. That's not an insignificant amount of time.
no.
But on the other hand, it's bureaucracy. So, yeah, who knows? We'll have to see. Hopefully we will be able to soon report that it has been resolved.
Yes.
One more thing I would like to talk about here is I think there's one piece of trouble that nobody's really seeing here. And I think there's a good chance once the issue gets resolved, there will be like a floodgate opening. You know, instead of like 100 games being released per week, suddenly in China you will have like 1,000 games released at once. And that will actually hurt their sales as well. A somewhat similar situation is actually currently happening on Steam, on Valve Steam, where they're not approving games with sexual content in them. You remember when we talked about the fact that Steam wants to pretty much allow every single game on Steam.
Yep.
So what they're doing apparently is designing some features so people can more easily filter out games they actually want to see. And apparently games that include some sexual content in them are not being approved by Valve at the moment. And I think the same problem will happen there. You know, once those features get implemented, there suddenly is going to be a floodgate of games with sexual content. And there's a ton of them on Steam. Like, you know, I go every week through the games that are just going to be releasing next week. I would say half of the games releasing every week are just weird hentai shit.
God.
So it's like 30 games per week. And, you know, suddenly you're going to have like, one day there's going to be like 500 hentai anime, sexual shit, tentacle monster rape games going on. And why I personally don't give a shit, because why the fuck would I play those games?
Yeah, really.
I can imagine being in like the shoes of the devs of those games. That poses some real trouble, you know, because let's say normally if there's 20 games released per week, let's say 10,000 people buy your game, but if there's 2,000 of them released, suddenly it's only 100 people buying your game. So yeah, that's gonna bring some studios into trouble, I think, as well.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic. Let's go into some rumor territory. So apparently there's a rumor going on about a new Nintendo Switch console coming in early 2019. It should have some improved specs. It should have 8 gigs of RAM, 280 gigs of internal storage, and something called dynamic scaling that will allow it to output in up to 4K resolution. The rumor has supposedly been started by Marcus Sellers, who is very well known for starting rumors and, well, quote-unquote leaking information on Twitter. Sadly, the tweets have been since deleted, so we cannot show you the tweets themselves. But yeah, do you think a 4K console for the Switch is a thing that will happen next year?
Next year, for me being a Switch owner myself, seems a little too early for Nintendo to release an upgraded version of the Switch, while also because they'll also risk alienating early adopters with people that buy the upgraded Switch.
Yeah, I would agree with that. On top of that, I think it would mean that the original Switch would have to drop in price. Not by much, but let's say by $20. But still, it seems just too soon. I think if he said like 2020, I might believe
2021.
Yeah. 2021 seems too far-fetched. Like that's nobody would knew about that yet. That's, you know, it's I don't think like creating a slightly more performable Switch is that hard, to be honest. The hardware is there very easily.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the new NVIDIA graphics cards. Man, those look beastly. Have you seen those?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, well, I still have a new computer promised from my boss, so wish me luck.
Yeah, good luck with that, man.
Well, I was talking with him today. He was like, "You know what? I'm just gonna buy a 280 Ti. $1,000 doesn't seem so hard, that expensive." I was like, "Yeah." But even like getting a 2070 or a 2080 would be fucking awesome in my computer.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm certainly not gonna complain if he just decides to buy me a computer for about $3,000. It will be a nice Christmas bonus. Though honestly, I would just prefer if he just gave me the money and I would just upgrade my current computer. I would possibly still buy the new graphics card, but I would definitely upgrade my CPU. I would switch to Ryzen, but I have the RAM, I have the drives, I have a good PSU, I have a good cooler. I don't need a whole computer. Give me the $3,000. I will buy the few pieces of the puzzle I need, and I'm gonna be left with like $1,500. Okay, let's move on to the last piece of news. Let's go into a bit of, I guess, like gossip kind of news, but it's not gossip. It's true. So a Utah librarian embezzled almost $90,000, and he spent them on a mobile game, on Game of War Fire Age. So obviously he's no longer the librarian. His name is Adam Vinger, I think is how it's pronounced. And apparently he just used the city's credit cards to buy hundreds of Amazon gift cards, which he then promptly spent on the microtransactions for the game. He tried to cover his tracks a bit, but sadly, thankfully, it was found out, and he pled guilty to theft and forgery back in June, and he was sentenced to 30 days in jail, 100 hours of community service, and he needs to pay $78,000 back that he embezzled. He actually had to sell his house for this, and to tap into his retirement fund to be able to, get the money back. So there is a serious discussion to be had here, but first of all, a mobile game?
Yeah, really.
And $90,000? I could buy a house for that money. Not like a great house, but a decent house for that kind of money.
Yeah, seriously.
Holy fuck, a fucker.
Yeah.
The serious discussion here is he was obviously addicted.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
And I think this is a good point for us to get a bit more serious instead of making fun out of him. Video game addiction is a real thing. Let's not kid ourselves. I would not consider it like itself as a mental health disorder as the World Health Organization does currently. Because you can also get addicted to masturbating in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You can, technically you could get addicted to watching paint dry.
Oh yeah.
If you get a kick out of it, you will get addicted. And the same problem is there for games, though games are obviously much more addictive compared to watching paint dry. So, yeah, if you ever have, any suspicion that any of your friends seems to be addicted to a game, talk with them. And if you ever feel like you're spending a bit too much money on a game, like about $89,000, maybe you're addicted yourself. And probably good point to seek out psychiatric help. So, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, just add more to it. If you're addicted to a certain game or to any game whatsoever, and you have not caused any trouble for yourself yet or for anybody else, go ahead and get help before
you embezzle money.
Yeah, before it gets worse.
Yeah, it's the common thing. Just seek help before it's too late. Yeah. I know it's not easy, but you should. And that's it for this week's news. Unless there's something I missed. Is there something I missed that was big?
No. No, you pretty much covered all the major stuff this past week.
There was that one video game developer who got into a fight with the police. But at this moment, we do not know who's in the right, so I don't think we should talk about it. Maybe once... There's actual footage of the fight. So once that gets released, maybe we will talk about that. But for the moment, not really. So then let's go into recommendations for next week. Would you like to start?
Oh yeah. First off, I'd like to recommend Guacamelee 2, which comes out today. It's out for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So.
And what's Guacamelee about?
You play as a guy who finds a supernatural luchador mask, and you gain abilities pertaining to wrestling. But it's more than just that. But it's more of Guacamelee. Can't go wrong with that.
Okay, do you know what's the price on it?
I think it's around
on PC.
$15.
On PC, it's $17.99 currently until the 28th. Yeah. Normally, it's gonna be $20.
Okay, yeah, $20.
Okay, I personally would like to start with a game called The King's Bird. And this actually seems to be a fairly simple platformer. But it looks fucking gorgeous. And it's all about speedrunning, making good times, doing score attacks. It's just your old school platformer with an interesting mechanic in the form that you have physics-based flying where, you need to get momentum to actually be able to fly to spaces. So that might be quite interesting. And again, this game looks freaking gorgeous. And I love the studio's name. It's called Graffiti Games. And the style is not graffiti. I don't know what I would call it. It's just freaking beautiful. It's really colorful. It's coming out on the 23rd. Sadly, we do not have a price announced yet. But yeah, I really want to play this. It looks freaking amazing. Okay, what is your next game for recommendation?
Next up, I'd like to recommend Shenmue 1 and 2 HD Remastered for PS4, PC, and Xbox One.
So it's pretty much Shenmue.
Yeah.
With better graphics.
Yeah, somewhat. I actually picked this game up last night, and the best way I can describe it is, it's like it takes cues from old school adventure games.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't hold your hand and all that. You gotta find out who murdered your father in cold blood, and you gotta. And from what I can tell, these two games, including the third one, which is coming out next year, will continue the story. But yeah, so far I'm actually really enjoying it. And if you ever get to the series, you can get both games for $30.
It's $34.99 on PC.
Okay.
And it's available right now. So if you want those, go and buy it straight away.
Yes.
Okay, I got one more game to recommend, and that is called Hypergun. And this is a first-person roguelike shooter with procedural generation, which might sound, quite normal. Obviously, it does have procedural generation of the rooms, etc. But the interesting thing here is it also has procedural generation of your weapon. And I love the way they're describing it. Let me actually put that on screen. They're saying it's a fast-paced roguelike shooter centering around a procedural weapon of questionable effectiveness. Enter the simulation. Build the hypergun. So yeah, this looks like it could be quite a lot of fun. Just making silly weapons that either don't do shit or are completely OP. It's also coming out on the 23rd. It's going to be available for $40.99 USD on launch. I'm going to guess there's going to be like a 10% sale, so it's going to be like $13 or 30 euros or whatever. And it looks cool. It's not a game. Okay. You don't often get to experiment that much with your weapons in games. Okay, you got anything else for a recommendation?
No. How about you?
No, this was my last one.
Okay.
Then let's slowly bring the show to an end. And as we do always, we will do that by showing. Yes. Mind if I go first?
Go for it.
Okay, you can find me on YouTube at Kralizec Gaming and on Steam at Kralizec. I do video game reviews.
Alright, and you can find me on YouTube as Tygergamer. You can find me on Steam at Tygergamer. And I do Let's Plays, and once in a blue moon I give impressions on some games.
And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Steam, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment and be sure to tune in tomorrow because the Gaming News series returns. See you guys later with more gaming content.
Yeah, have a good one.